everyone, and thanks for tuning back into Superior Synergy Games. I've had a lot of people reach out to me recently looking to see if I can show them my deck list for my Blurple deck that I've been running. And so I just recently took this to the #1 on the ranked leaderboard, so don't know if I'm still there sitting there at the time this video being posted, but I will try to be the one sitting there at the end of the season here. So I've been playing this list for the past month here, obviously put a lot of games in on it. And you can obviously see the stats there and kind of see the matchups that are a little more favorable and ones that are not quite so favorable. Obviously green steel kind of being my kryptonite lately. But having nice matchups at least against the ruby amethyst and the sapphire ruby. So this is the list here. Obviously there are some changes that I've been making here and there, but if I was to play in an event, I think this is like today, this is the event, or this is the deck I would bring to that event. And so for starters, let's take a look at all the 1-drops. So we've got the Chernobog followers and the Pascals. So in recent iterations, I had Rafiki in here instead of the Pascal. I was having a lot of issues dealing with evasives, and I didn't really feel that Cruella, the 2-cost, fit in here that well. And so I made the switch over to Pascal. Being able to buff him up with the Merlin Crab ability lets me kind of deal with evasives, as well as it can kind of be a free quester early on in the game as long as you do control those 2 characters. Chernobog followers obviously kind of being one of the best amethyst 1-drops right now, and just being able to recycle it if you know maybe a Swords or a Tinkerbell is coming on one of those future turns. Popsicle, I'm down to 3 in this deck right now. A lot of people question the Flavorsham Popsicle engine in here. I really like it. It kind of is that extra card to let me draw. It's inkable. I like it at 3. This is kind of where I keep running. And then recently I've been testing out these 2 Befuddles. My teammate Michael Bruno was running these in one of the recent events and definitely recommended me to check it out. So I have done that, and I have really enjoyed it. It helps in the aggro matchup, as well as kind of that ruby amethyst. You can bounce their 2-cost Madam Mim Snake, or even bounce maybe a Smee in any of these steel decks. So I really like this. In recent iterations, I had maybe the 2-drop Pinocchio in here to be able to exert things, and that is the other card that I really want to fit in here maybe to help deal with aggro. But currently, I like the inkable ability of Befuddle, and I like the card. So moving on to the 2-drops, we currently only have Madam Mim and Grammatala. I do a lot of hard mulligan looking for them, so I will sometimes dump a whole hand back to dig for, my Grammatala. So I love the ability to ramp with Grammatala. I love the ability that Grammatala can turn into a monster with Merlin Crab and be swinging for 4, trading into doing a lot of trade-ups. So I kind of like the MVP of the deck. It's just such a great turn 2 play, and it's kind of one of the best opens you can have in this deck. Madam Mim is always great if I don't draw into the Tala, and then if I don't, this Madam Mim Snake is one of my best late game abilities, being able to bounce anything I want, whether it's for card draw or lore gain with the Merlin Goat. Moving into the 3-drops, we have quite a few in here. We've got the Judy Hops. Currently I'm on the 2 of. It's a nice double quester, and it kind of helps me deal with the flutes, the lanterns, the lucky dimes. It's always a discount Flavorsham if you can't find your Flavorsham, so I like it. I've debated maybe removing this, especially now that I've been using Befuddle now to kind of remove lanterns or bounce lanterns back, as well as flutes. So this card is kind of in that area where I might cut it and add something else. So I do like it though. Friends on the other side, perfect card. So many options in here to sing it. Mickey Mouse is one of my favorite ones to sing it. It pops up when I need it the most in this deck and helps me refill my hand. So Mickey Mouse is another one of my MVP cards. I love to mulligan down to look for a 1-drop Tala and Mickey as my opening hand. This card ramps me so much, especially with the bounce package, being able to continuously replay it and quickly get up to more ink than your opponent expects you to be at. So it's obviously a great target for the friends on the other side singing, and overall just love the card. I've tried it at 4, feels a little clunky, you find it too many times. I've tried him down at 2, especially hard mulliganing for him, and I don't find him as much as I want. So I do really like him at the 3 number, but overall one of my favorite cards. The Madam Mim Fox, obviously I think one of the best amethyst cards that's out there. Not a lot you got to say about this card other than it's just amazing. It bounces everything, clears a lot of boards, especially in the aggro matchup. If you can find 2 of these, they can just kind of repeatedly bounce each other and clear boards. So a lot of people do mention that I don't have a board clear in this deck, which hey, Madam Mim sometimes is my board clear, being able to repeatedly play it. So moving into the four 3-drop Maleficents, obviously another card draw card. 4 might be too much for this. I have debated dropping this down to 3 in recent versions. I have tried this at 3, but at the moment I'm sitting at 4. A card that just replaces itself and can help get me going at a late game when I'm kind of just looking to draw into some maybe the Friends or the Merlin Rabbit. 4 of the Crab. Locations are a problem. I love this card. I had played with it for a while at 3, and then more recently I bumped it up to that 4th, and it's been amazing at 4. It's easy to ink if you know you don't need it in certain matchups, but there's usually never a time where I'm sad that I have a Crab. It's usually me hoping that I draw into a Crab. So really love this card. It was one of my favorite cards in set 2. I'm glad it's kind of getting the love that it deserves now in set 3. Going into the 4-drops, we start off with the Flavorsham. A lot of people like to question this one, but hey, it's a hard body to deal with being a 1/6. You can't Long Came Zeus it. It obviously gets killed by Mad Medusa, but I'm okay when that usually happens because to me, I only play Flavorsham when I already have a Popsicle on board, so he's already done what I need him to do at that point, so I'm okay with losing him to a Mad Medusa. So I like the card. I'd like him at the 3 of. I really don't think I'd change that at all. Maybe 2. I don't even know. So going into the manners, I've messed around with this. I've gone up, I've gone down on the amount. For a while I was only playing at 2, but lately I've been enjoying them at 3. They're ink when you don't need them. And if you see your opponent ink a lot of their Rise of the Titans, that means you can drop these for free and kind of be problems. So really like the card, but I could see this maybe going back down to 2. Then obviously the Merlin package between Goat and Rabbit, just amazing cards. They kind of bring this whole deck all together, as they're the prime bounce targets besides the Mickey. Being able to draw cards, gain lore. I've closed out a lot of games with bouncing the Merlin Goat an unimaginable amount of times and gain lore just off of that, not even questing. So MVPs of the deck, not a lot you got to say about them. And finally, going into my big hitters, and a lot of people say I don't have any removal in this deck. The Yzma is my removal, even though it's not really removal. I think Yzma's been an MVP of this deck, being able to help me refresh a hand when I need it, remove a risky target when I need it. I've debated going to 3 Yzmas in this deck. Haven't quite made that move, but it is something that I would debate. I really love refreshing my hand, hitting the Merlin Rabbit, and then it's inkable. It's great to get rid of. And finally, the Elsa. Obviously, everyone who sees this deck or this card on the other side of it, it's never fun to get Elsa. Elsa is an annoying card. Being able to freeze your opponent's cards, and then having the Mim package in here to bounce it, replay it. It's just a feared card. Really like it in here. I've debated going up to 3, but I draw into it too much. And so I really like it at the 2 of. I find it when I need it, and it helps me kind of secure games when I need it most. Obviously, I don't have a lot of uninkables in here. I've got 6, 7, 8, 9, I believe, off of Mickey being the 9th. I like consistency. I don't usually ever have a bad draw, or I'm never not able to ink something. So there are a couple other uninkables I could maybe include in this to make this a little bit better, but overall I really like the consistency of running a lot of inkables. So there are some honorable mentions of cards I would add, like maybe the 6 cost Gaston, the 2 cost Pinocchio. I ran with the Bosses on a Roll for a while, but made a lot of mistakes with that card, so it ended up getting cut. And this is just the current version I'm on. I was playing a lot of 3 ofs, and I just moved a lot of cards to 4 ofs for consistency, and I really like them at that. So definitely check the deck out, try it yourself, let me know if you like it. Anything that you would change, I'd love to hear everyone's feedback on the deck, as obviously any deck can be improved, especially as the meta is always shifting. So let me know what you think of it, and we're going to hop into some games so I can show you kind of how I do play the deck. Alright, so game 1 here, we're going to cover a match I had against Smashing Patty. We did a best of 3, and they matched up with me. They were watching the stream, and so they wanted to get some games in to get all warmed up. So we're going to look at the mulligan hand. I want to always open with a Grammatala and the 1 cost, as well as the 3 cost Mickey, Detective Mickey. So we hung on to those low costs, and we drew into some decent cards. Lots of inkables, obviously, nothing even uninkable, so plenty of options in hand to get rid of. So see him ink the Flavorsham, and they obviously open with the hook, which makes it tough for me to play Pascal early. And I get rid of the Maleficent just because I'm expecting to get a whole new worlded. And so I can at least get the Chernobog followers out there as kind of just a presence against that Captain Hook. And obviously kind of waiting to see what my opponent's going to do. But being against, I had known when it was blue steel before I even got into this, but there's the blue to show that off. And obviously they hit me with the 1-2 Smee Captain Hook combo. So I like the crab here, as if he does exert like Smee or even the Captain Hook, I can trade Tala into one of those and get that a little bit of ramp and kind of surprise them hopefully a little bit. And so I saw the second Flavor Sham go here, so that made me believe that of course they had the whole new world in hand as they were kind of getting rid of all of their drawing cards. Same with the Develop Your Brain getting inked. So that's why easily Popsicle is a good choice here, but dropping the crab here and putting it into Smee gives me so much advantage here. And going up that ink. Obviously questing here leaves me open to that Mickey. So that's why I chose not to quest here. And I believe this is when they play a whole new world. I think they had a really rough hand there. I think it was fire the cannons and grab your swords. Yeah, so lots of uninkables. So kind of giving me a lot of cards to play with here. So having a new hand with this deck, I need to get a little more ink obviously to have full kind of options to do what I want, but I can at least take that Mickey out. And I like Befuddle, it kind of messes with your opponent and all of a sudden he's got nothing on board. And I just established Judy here just as an extra quester, and so I can start questing. She doesn't die to grab your swords like something like Maleficent, their 3-cost does. And I didn't want to get Tinkerbell here, so I ended up just sacking my own Chernobog followers just so if he did drop a Tinkerbell, it didn't feel nearly as good. Because the grab your swords would hurt here, but it wouldn't wipe my board completely because I have that Judy who's questing for 2. And obviously if he leaves my board alone, I can quest for 4 next turn and kind of take the lead a little bit on the lower side. So they start to establish some ramp of their own. Let me see a Smee, and it looks like the Captain Hook that I think I had bounced is back. So, but all of a sudden they don't have a lot of cards in their hands, so it starts to make me wonder, hey, is another whole new world coming? So I'm looking at this point just to ramp as much as I can. I want to be able to play as many cards as I can. So I really like dropping the Mickey. But then Crab leaves me down as another threat that just can't necessarily get swords. I think what I maybe would have done if I had done this differently was to drop the Madam Mim to pick up the Pascal and play both of them. But I want that Madam Mim as an option to either bounce the Merlin Rabbit or bounce Mickey again. And we see the Cinderella come down. So not a lot of big good outs for that. I kind of need to use my crabs, which I have on field. Or I need to use Yzma, Elsa. So at this point I'm kind of just deciding I'm going to quest. They're out of cards in hand. Pressure them as much as I can. So keep questing, get a little more ramp. I don't believe I inked there, but maybe I should have inked that Flavor Sham to play that Merlin Rabbit. But obviously like a Tinkerbell Swords here would really, really hurt, but I'm still at 11 lore. And a Tinkerbell Swords would take up most of the cards in their hand and their turn. And they obviously have to decide here whether they're going to start racing me on questing with that Cinderella quest number 3 or if they're going to start taking trades. So Smee killing Judy is a nice trade for them, with Smee sticking around. Pascal obviously being a big problem with them at the evasive. I know at the beginning we saw they were running fire the cannons, so that is one of their options they had as an out to take out my Pascal. And Lucky Dime coming down, showing that this could be a race against that Cinderella quest number 3. And getting rid of these crabs, I think, is their number one way to kind of stop me from killing that Cinderella. So I think that was the right play on their part, because all of a sudden I lost 2 of my crabs. But obviously they lose me because of that Captain Hook. So Rabbit obviously letting me draw some more. And at this point, everything I have is able to be hit by Cinderella anyway, so I might as well quest them. She's going to come after me regardless. Pick up Snake to keep it, I guess, safe from other things, which I don't know if that was the best play. But make him have to play the songs if they want to go after anything. So they'd have to hard cast the songs since they don't have any characters on board. So then Cinderella could attack one of my 4 things that are ready. And we see the whole new world, which is not great on their part, just due to the fact that I could be drawing into goats here. So we obviously see 1 goat in hand. I have game right here at this point with goat in hand. They don't know that, obviously. Well, not anymore. Tinkerbell gives me a little bit of trouble. And drawing into 2 else's is pretty crazy, so that lets me lock out their big characters. Just kind of quest out here. And then I believe I dropped Judy just to deny that lucky dime. I know they don't have Tamatoa like the Ruby Sapphire decks do, so get that dime out of my way. I don't really want to lose to a dime when Cinderella's questing for 3, so obviously only need 3 more lore to close the game, which is, at this point, if I draw into a bouncer, I can do goat, bounce, goat. I don't even need the characters that are on the field. So there was a timer glitch that was going on during this for their turn. I don't think it mattered all that much because I think I pretty much had this one wrapped up regardless. As obviously I got it there, but hopefully I could have drawn to something with goat. So alright, let's hop right into game 2 here. Obviously I won game 1, so they get to go first here. I really like the Mickey Mouse in hand. Really great to have, but I don't really care if I'm in my draw because he's going to whole new world me anyway. So it looks like I drew right into perfectly what I'd want. I have my 1 cost Grammatala and Mickey. The only thing that could make this better would be if I had a 2 cost Madam Mim Snake. And so obviously they open with the Popsicle. That's pretty much what they want to open with themselves. I think they ink to develop. Location doesn't do great here because I know a lot of people run the way to, the action to kill it, that Rise of the Titans. And Pascal did me well in the last game, so I like to start with him because if I drop Tala on 2, I can protect it from a Captain Hook or Smee swinging into it. Which is exactly what they have here. Obviously I could have Turnabog followers on here and I could quest and they trade. A little early for Goat. Didn't want to lose the Befuddle just because I could bounce the Captain Hook. I think the other option I could have gone here was to drop the Pascal and the Turnabog followers and go a little aggro on them. Kind of make them rush into a Swords or a Tinkerbell. But obviously sticking to the old ramp game works well with the Tala. So they're starting their ramp here with the Fishbone Quill. Gets me worried that that whole new world is coming sooner rather than later. And another Popsicle. At this point, Pascal is free to quest, and then I'm fine with questing Tala just because I don't really care if he trades the hook into it. I want the Tala to die. I could definitely drop the Judy there to take out that Fishbone Quill, but I didn't really want to give him the card draw there, and I'd rather just keep the ramp up with him and keep up with him with Mickey. So maybe it would have been a better play there to drop the Judy because then I have a double person questing for 2. So could have been a mistake I made there. Obviously they're going to draw here off the Flavor Sham. They have not inked yet, I don't believe, this turn. So they drop a Tinkerbell. So Tinkerbell is a threat to me next turn that I have to be aware of with the 1 health characters down. Tala goes away, which gives me another ink next turn, which I like, putting me at 6 for the turn. I like taking Mickey into hook, just because I can bounce Mickey possibly. Smee back to hand to slow them down. Pascal gets the free quest. And at this point, I am going to do that Judy to go after that Fishbone Quill. And we can drop the Chernobog. Obviously, we're still pretty vulnerable to like a Tinkerbell or a Swords. One of our only things that we kind of have to be wary of, but we do at least have a card in hand that can draw me more cards. So obviously they're going to go search for something. So there goes the Smee that we bounced. Maybe we shouldn't have given it back to him. But it looks like they've been holding on to a Tinkerbell. So a little problematic there. I'd love to have been able to take the Flavor Sham out here. Don't really have the option to do so. And obviously you got to keep the card draw going. Definitely lose the Flavor Sham and play the Followers, I believe. Yeah. And again, we're just back to the Rabbit's back in our hand, and all of a sudden we were able to drop 3 more cards that turn. So here's the deck just showing how it replaces the cards in its hand so well and gets cards back out onto the field. So Gaston's a little problem if that Lucky Diamond comes down. Other than that, I'd like to usually just ignore Gaston. Obviously, Tinkerbell can take some easy trades here, some free 2-for-1s. Being able to kill my Judy off of swinging into the Mickey. Don't really like that, but I had to be questing. I gotta keep the pressure on him. So I'm gonna lose Judy here. But she did at least get the quest for the 2. And we're back to starting our turn out with our Merlin Rabbit again. Into a Popsicle. I know we've inked a lot of Flavor Shams this game, but nice to have. So I'm going to get rid of that just because it dies to Swords and I need to just draw some more cards. The Goat's an interesting pickup here. But nice to know that I have it in hand. I think if I was to do this over, I might actually just ink that Goat there and drop the Tala and the Pascal, but I guess I have to know that Swords is coming. Obviously, Tinkerbell can take a 2-for-1 again here and still stick around. Being able to swing into that Mickey was so nice for them, and they are just dropping some big questers, so that is not great for us. Popsicle coming down, giving them obviously more draw with Flavor Sham. So all of a sudden, I'm realizing I'm not going to get Whole New World at any time soon. They've got a full hand of 8 cards. And some big questers on board. Because right now they're questing for 9 a turn, and he's going to be able to take out 2 of my characters on the board. Obviously giving me another ink next turn, which is nice, but I need to make sure I have draw. And this Let It Go is an interesting choice to dump my Merlin. I think it was the right choice because I would have been able to take that Tinkerbell out. I'm a little frustrated that they did that, but here's some more card draw we've got in hand at least. But with them questing for 9, we really gotta pick up the pace here. And we drew into 3 crabs. Crazy, we don't need that many crabs, so let's at least get Goat on board. And them questing for 9 is going to put them ahead of us here. If they run into the Lucky Dime, I'm indefinitely dire in a lot of trouble. And here comes the Lucky Dime. So this is just about game right here. I don't think there's anything I can draw on to change this. I need like a Yzma to throw things away. Maybe Elsa to freeze the Gastons, but even then they're still able to use the Lucky Dime. And we draw into the Friends. Not really going to help us in this scenario. Kind of got to find the Elsa. That's the only thing that can maybe get me out of this. And we draw into 2 Goats. So not what we want at all. That is game right there. So those Gastons were problems for us. They caught up really quick. So GG's to them. And let's go into game 3 here. Alright, we're heading into game 3 here. The first game where I've been able to go first, which is nice to see. We have everything we need except for the 1 cost, so we need to kind of put that all back, and we need to find that 1 cost to stick with the Grammatala and the Mickey. And obviously we put the Popsicle back, but we wanted to dig deeper, and we did not hit a 1 cost, so that puts a little bit of a snag in our plan here. We don't really like to see that, especially going first, being down a card, but we're going to Inkatala. We don't really need the 2 at the moment. And let's just hope that they also did not have anything to play turn 1. But looks like they've got their Popsicle, so they have a nice start, lots of cards in hand. And we draw to the Flittersham. We don't need it right now. And instead we're going to get our Tala on board. Do like that we have the Mickey Mouse for turn 3, and then the Mickey Mouse bounce for turn 4 there. So they are opening up with tons of Popsicles. We just are hoping they don't find a Flavorsham then. Hoping that they're all at the bottom of the deck. And the 3rd Popsicle, so a lot of draw happened there, and a good thing there's no Tamatoas in this deck. So we already find our 3rd Grammatala, so don't need that, and instead we're going to keep things going with Mickey. And yes, they put a lot of items, but they haven't actually put a character yet to the board. So no lore they've been getting it all that way. And we've at least been able to find out, we hit our ramp package, so it's okay we didn't have the 1 drop, we were at least able to get our ramp package going. So another item comes down, so they hit their ramp, and so it's going to be who can have more ink this game. So tied at the moment. I know we inked a Flavorsham already, but obviously just going to quest ourselves out. And didn't see him play the location in previous turns, or in previous games, so I didn't really need the crab for that. So we're able to just bounce Mickey, replay Mickey, and go into 6 ink. We have plenty of bounce options still in hand here for next turn if I want. So see if they continue to do ramp with their Bone Quill. I'm obviously putting some lore on the board. So they lose a Tinkerbell. And it looks like they're going to eat something with the Quill. And drop a Tinkerbell. So I like this here. I like that Grammatala just ramped me even more. But this Tinkerbell kind of takes me into an area with, I have all these bouncers, so I'm like, why? You saw what happened when I gave them too many free 2-for-1s. So I have plenty of bounce that I can do here. So I'm just not going to leave anything exerted for him, so that I can just continuously quest the way I want here. So obviously thought about leaving the Popsicle as some draw, but I'm just going to end up dropping that again, and we are already up to 9 ink here. So we've also been able to put 5 lore on the board as well, and that Tinkerbell has nothing they can swing into. So Cogsworth come down. I can't really touch Cogsworth at all, but I usually just ignore the Cogsworth. I'd rather just keep questing. So they leave themselves up and not questing, so they don't want me to swing into them. But again here, I'm able to just bounce and keep everything I want safe here. And I was able to quest for free and keep my character safe after questing, and then continue my ramp here. I was lucky to have that Merlin Rabbit in hand, that I obviously can play that when I need to start drawing some cards here. And that Tinkerbell that came down, it felt like it came down earlier, but I just have not been allowing it to do what it wants to do and take those 2-for-1s. So the Let It Go gonna ramp me some more. Another Let It Go, so definitely not the hand they want, and I'm at 13 ink already. And we find Yzma. So at this point, I'm just gonna go refresh my hand with Yzma, because she quests for 2 as well. So I like the location here, but I think what I like more is well, I guess this is where I drop the location. So keep questing. Obviously they're only swinging at me for 6 against that location, so that's also leaving what I have on board. So Beast comes down to get them their extra card draw. And Tinkerbell, for the first time ever, is finally able to swing into something, and we'll see where they put the damage. Obviously, it opens me up to swords there. So, lose the Yzma. It definitely is not great, but it is what it is. So, all of a sudden, I've got bouncers on bouncers, and what probably I should do is just keep bouncing, keep my stuff safe, keep my draw going. And at this point, this is kind of where I don't usually, at this point I should usually just probably keep my bouncers, keep drawing, but I decided that I'm just going to take out that Cogsworth. And so, obviously play Crab to then bounce Mim, or to play Mim to bounce Crab, and just take the Cogsworth. I could have taken the Tinkerbell here, but I think I want Cogsworth out first. So, and I do give Tinkerbell something to swing into, but I'd rather them swing into that and let my location keep questing the way it is. They finally hit their Flavor Shame with their opening of all those items that they had. But at this point, I'm at 15 ink and they're at 7. So, if they were to hit me with something like a Whole New World, it would feel terrible on their part, because I would have goats, I would imagine, to just keep playing over and over with my bouncers. So, gonna ramp a little bit more for them. They have the Zeus. See if they use it to pop a Mim or the location. So, okay, they want to put the damage in the location and take that out. And then obviously clear my Mim. So, I'm down to just questing for 2 next turn, which definitely limits me more than what I was before. And then obviously they have a surplus of popsicles, so they can heal that beast pretty and not feel too bad about it, because the Flavor Sham can only eat so many popsicles. Yeah, I drew into another bouncer. Very crazy. So quest the 2 that I've got. And just keep everything safe. Keep it away from that Tinkerbell. I've got plenty out there, and I have nothing on the board for them to swing at. So hoping that I can just draw into a goat to end the game. That's my goal here. But as this whole game has been, it's just been bounce and avoid Tinkerbell. So obviously they're going to go draw for something, because Flavor Sham's not going to kill anything. A Tinkerbell Grab Your Swords combo would wipe my board, which would hurt. Instead, they opt for the Whole New World. And obviously give me options. Didn't draw into a rabbit, or not a rabbit, Merlin goat, which is kind of crazy. And they go for the double Whole New World. So at this point, we do got the double goats. So all I need is the 1 to secure the game, unless they have some sort of like a Let It Go or something to remove my board. And there's the Tinkerbell. Does the Grab Your Swords come as well? And it's only the Cogsworth. So we've got game now with the goats. Just had to do that, and obviously we're playing a little friendly game, so I had to show them my manners. I had to build up those manners, and the goats were game. So great games with Smashing Patty. Really appreciated them for playing me on stream there. It was a lot of fun. I play them all the time on ladder. They're a phenomenal player, so it was a really great opportunity to get some practice against Blue Steel, because it's a really good deck, especially in the right hand. So thank you to them for playing with me. Alright, hope you all enjoyed the deck there. Obviously, I'll have some more matchups, and you can always check my Twitch, which I have dropped in the description down below. I'm usually streaming on there, so you can kind of check how I'm playing there. Seeing a lot of different matchups there as well, so definitely drop us a follow there. Drop us a subscribe here on YouTube. We're trying to build up our following here, as well as join our Discord, Mishi's Lair. I dropped the links to all of those down below in the description, so appreciate everyone for following, appreciate everyone for subscribing, and I really appreciate everyone's recommendations and anyone who has helped kind of bring this deck to where it is today. So watch out for us out there on the ladder. This has been Superior Synergy Games. Thank you.